Probably noticed it at the gas pump, your favorite restaurant, or even your local hardware store. A few extra dollars tacked onto your bill when you pay with a credit card. These are called surcharges, and more businesses in Alabama are adding them to offset the fees they pay to credit card companies. But are businesses legally required to tell you about these charges before you swipe your card? We verify. Credit card surcharges can range from 2 to 4% of your purchase. That means a $100 dinner bill could suddenly become $104. But are Alabama businesses required by law to disclose these fees? Let's verify. Our source is the Alabama Code. Here's what we found. There's no Alabama law that requires private businesses to disclose credit card surcharges. No statute says, quote, businesses must post signs about surcharges. And no law requires disclosure before you swipe your card. The only Alabama laws about surcharges apply to government entities, not private businesses. For example, Alabama Code Section 41-160 allows the state government to charge surcharges, and Section 11-103 allows counties and cities to do the same. But restaurants, gas stations, and retail stores aren't included. So does that mean a business could surprise you with a surcharge at the register? Legally, yes. Alabama law doesn't explicitly prohibit it. But here's the catch. The Deceptive Trade Practices Act, again, Section 819.5, prohibits any unconscionable, false, misleading, or deceptive act in trade or commerce. That means if a business charges you more than the advertised price without telling you first, it could be considered misleading or deceptive. However, this is determined case by case, and after searching, we couldn't find any Alabama lawsuits where customers successfully sued businesses for undisclosed surcharges. So we can verify that no, Alabama law does not require businesses to disclose credit card surcharges. However, businesses should disclose these fees to avoid violating the state's Deceptive Trade Practices Act and payment card network rules. If you encounter a surcharge that seems deceptive, you can file a complaint with the Alabama Attorney General's Consumer Interest Division or dispute the charge with your credit card company. And if you have something you want us to verify, text us at 256-382-2692. Governor Kay Ivey delivered her final State of the State address just a few hours ago, highlighting Alabama's progress over the past decade. From education improvements to economic growth, the governor made several claims about Alabama's success. But how many of these claims really hold up? Tonight, we're putting the governor's biggest claims to the test. We verify. In her address, Governor Ivey painted a picture of Alabama on the rise. She claimed the state has climbed from the bottom of education rankings, brought in billions in economic investments, and expanded broadband access across the state. But do the numbers actually back her up? We'll look into that. Our sources include the National Assessment of Educational Progress, the U.S. Census Bureau, BroadbandNow.com, and various state agencies. Governor Ivey claimed that in 2017, Alabama ranked 52nd in fourth grade math and 49th in fourth grade reading. She says today, Alabama ranks 32nd in math and 34th in reading. According to the National Assessment of Educational Progress, that's mostly true. Alabama did jump from 52nd to 32nd in math and 49th to 34th in reading. But the most recent baseline data used for comparison was 2019, just before the pandemic, not 2017. The governor also said Alabama had its highest ever college and career readiness rate, and that's true. 88% of the class of 2024 earned a college and career ready designation, up from 84% the year before. She said Alabama is tied for the lowest percentage of chronic absenteeism, and that's also true. Alabama's 15% rate is tied with Idaho for the best in the nation. Now let's look at infrastructure. Governor Ivey said Alabama ranked near the bottom in broadband connectivity, but now ranks 24th. That's true. According to Broadband Now, Alabama jumped from 47th in 2019 to 24th in 2024, a 23-position improvement. She also claimed that 100% of Alabama will soon have access to an internet service provider, which is partially true. The state has submitted a plan to the federal government to bring internet service to more than 101,000 homes and businesses that don't have reliable access right now. But the plan hasn't been approved yet, and about 25% of those locations will get internet through satellite, not traditional wired service. Even after approval, it will take several years before everyone is connected. Now let's look at economic development. Governor Ivey said $69 billion in investments have created 100,000 jobs since 2017. That's partially true. Official reports show $55 billion in investments created more than 93,000 jobs as of February of 2025. Some of her figures may include recent announcements, but there's no official documentation confirming those exact numbers. She also said Alabama consistently ranks among the top 10 states for doing business. That's partially true. Area Development Magazine has Alabama in the top 10 every year of her tenure, ranking 8th in 2025. But CNBC ranks Alabama 19th in its 2025 report, so the claim depends on which ranking you use. Governor Ivey also talked about supporting Alabama families and building the workforce. She said the state has seen record 6,000 plus foster care adoptions. That's false. The 6,000 figure actually refers to the total number of children in Alabama's foster care system, not adoptions. The highest number of adoptions in a single year was 814 in 2020. On the workforce front, the governor said the new Department of Workforce has taken 25,000 workers off the sidelines in its first year. We can't verify whether or not this is true. The department was launched in October of 2025, just 3 months ago, and there is no official documentation showing it added 25,000 workers to the workforce. The number likely refers to overall job growth in Alabama, not a specific achievement in the department. So we can verify that many of Governor Ivey's claims are true. However, some claims are either misleading or cannot be verified. And if you have something you want us to verify, text us at 256-382-2692. We've seen it all over social media. People saying their utilities bills are way up this month. Many of you may be wondering why your electric bill seems higher than it was last year. Is your utility company raising rates, or is something else driving up those costs? Let's verify. Winter heating bills can be a shock when they arrive in the mail. And when you compare your bill to last year, you might wonder if your utility company is charging you more. So are electric rates actually going up compared to last year? Let's verify. Our sources are Joe Wheeler, EMC, spokesperson Mike Cornelison, and the TVA. According to Cornelison, Joe Wheeler's base rates remain stable month to month. The only variable that changes the TVA fuel charge, which has actually decreased since the summer. Joe Wheeler, EMC, does not raise rates based on weather conditions, and they say their residential rates and fees are always publicly posted on their website. So what's causing those higher bills? It's usage. Data from July through December of 2025 shows that average usage jumped nearly 22% from November to December. That usage increase resulted in an average bill increase of about 16%. In November, with mild 55-degree average temps, the average Joe Wheeler utility bill was around $164. But in December, as temperatures dropped to an average of 46 degrees, usage climbed, and the average bill jumped to $192. Cornelison says last December's rates were in the 13.5 cent range, lower than the December's rate of 12.8 cents. Cornelison says higher bills during periods of extreme heat or cold are driven by increased usage, not changes in Joe Wheeler's rates. If you want to lower your usage and your bill in the winter, the TVA offers some simple tips. Turn your thermostat down just 1 or 2 degrees. Every degree can save you 3% per degree on your bill. Reverse the direction of your ceiling fans to push warm air from your ceiling down toward the floor. And during sunny days, open window coverings on the sunny side of the house to get free heat from the sun, but close them at night or on cloudy days to keep your heat inside. Cornelison also encourages members to use the JWEMC app or website to view daily, weekly, and monthly usage, track costs, and sign up for usage alerts. These tools give members real-time insight into their energy use and help eliminate surprises on their bill. So we can verify that your bill may be higher, but Joe Wheeler says it's because of your usage, not rates. If you have something you want us to verify, text us at 256-382-2692. Residents at Madison's Sutton Apartments have been without running water for over a week. The property owner failed to pay the water bill, leaving tenants struggling to cook, clean, and maintain basic hygiene. But it raises a big question. Can tenants legally withhold rent if basic services aren't being provided by the property owner? We verify. Imagine your heat goes out in the middle of winter, or your apartment doesn't have a working toilet. Services like running water, heat, and functioning plumbing aren't luxuries. They're required for a safe, livable home. So what happens when a landlord fails to provide these basic amenities? Can renters in Alabama legally withhold rent until the problem is fixed? Let's verify. Our source is the Alabama Code. Here's what we found. According to Alabama law, the answer is no. Alabama Code Section 359A164 makes it clear tenants cannot withhold rent to enforce their rights. In other words, even if basic amenities aren't provided, renters must continue paying. And even though some states allow renters to leverage rent using an escrow account or repair and deduct remedies, where tenants fix the problem themselves and deduct the cost from rent, Alabama strictly prohibits it. If tenants withhold rent anyway, the landlord can issue a 7-day notice to pay or even file for eviction. But landlords do have legal obligations. Alabama Code Section 359A204 requires landlords to supply running water, reasonable hot water, reasonable heat, and maintain electrical, plumbing, and sanitary systems in good working order. When landlords fail to meet these requirements, tenants have two legal options. Option 1, terminate the lease. Tenants can send written notice to the landlord specifying a termination date at least 14 days after the landlord receives it. Once they vacate, the rental agreement ends with no penalties, and the landlord must return security deposits and prepaid rent. Option 2, stay and sue for damages. Tenants can remain in the property and sue the landlord for the reduced rental value and other damages caused by the lack of basic amenities. So we can verify that no, Alabama renters cannot withhold rent when basic amenities aren't provided. Their only legal remedies are to move out with proper notice or stay and sue for damages. If you have something you want us to verify, text us at 256-382-2692.
Fox 54 Plus has your news, sports, and weather. Start your evening with Fox 54 at 5:30, delivering the latest headlines and live reports straight from the scene. Then, stay informed with Fox 54 News at 9, featuring your Tennessee Valley certified most accurate weather impact team, tracking everything from tornado threats to traffic delays during severe weather. Fox 54 Sports Extra brings you more of what sports fans crave, with deeper insights, expert analysis, and all the action that matters most. On Fox 54 Plus, you'll also find Alabama politics, plus 24/7 weather radar and real-time forecasts to keep you ahead of the storm. Looking for a quick recap? Don't miss Fox 54 Week in Review, highlighting the biggest stories of the week. Jumpstart your morning with Morning Rush, fast-paced news updates featured with uplifting stories from across the globe. Get your entertainment fix with Getting Real, where we break down movie reviews, top 10 lists, and spotlight the newest film. Die Hard fan? Locked On Sports dives deep into the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, college rivalries, and pro action. True Crime Warrior Style? Killer Cases brings you gripping real-life stories that stick with you. Hungry for more? Cooking with Style serves up mouth-watering recipes that are easy to make and impossible to resist. From movie previews before you head to the theater with Take a Look to must-know headlines from across the region and around the world with In the News. Watch all of these shows on demand and also on the Fox 54 News app, available on Android and iOS devices, streaming 24/7.